Good morning. It's Thursday, February 12th, 2026. Welcome to your Morning Digest, your daily companion for a deep dive into the markets, the shifting tides of global power, and the wisdom that grounds us as we navigate it all. I'm your host, and we have a packed episode for you today. From institutional moves in the Ethereum ecosystem to a bold outsider candidate vowing a military crackdown in Colombia, and a profound reflection from Dostoevsky on the kind of suffering that actually builds a soul, we're covering the full spectrum. Let's jump right in. First up in our finance and market segment, we're looking at some significant movement in the world of blockchain. Every day we see more signs that the Wild West era of crypto is being replaced by institutional-grade infrastructure. Case in point, Alt Capital Group has officially unveiled its Alt blockchain public testnet. This isn't just another coin launch. Alt Capital is positioning this as a Layer 1 network specifically designed for trading, settlement, and institutional-grade on-chain infrastructure. The launch of the public testnet is a crucial phase, providing a live environment to evaluate validator performance and infrastructure design. It's a signal that the big players aren't just looking at crypto as an asset class anymore, they're building the rails for the future of finance itself. And speaking of institutional rails, the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance just got a major boost. Three heavy hitters, Polygon Labs, Ethena, and Nethermind, have officially joined the alliance. For those who track the plumbing of the crypto world, this news reflects the ongoing consolidation of Ethereum's institutional footprint. We're talking about payments, financial primitives, and protocol engineering all coming together under a unified standard. When the people building the protocols and the companies facilitating the payments join the same table, the path to mainstream adoption becomes a lot clearer. Moving from digital assets to the physical world, things are heating up in South America. In Colombia, a presidential hopeful who describes himself as an outsider, Abelardo de la Espriella, is making waves with a bold and controversial promise. He told Reuters on Wednesday that he plans to launch a military offensive to restore security and, by extension, provide a shock to the economy. De la Espriella is leaning into a neoliberal platform, shrinking the government, lowering taxes, and slashing regulations, all backed by firm military action. It's a classic shock-to-the-system approach that we're seeing resonate in various parts of the globe where voters are frustrated with the status quo. Whether he can deliver or if this leads to further destabilization remains the multi-billion-dollar question for investors in the region. Now, let's talk about the lifeblood of the global economy, oil. On Wednesday, oil prices gained about 1%, finishing the day in positive territory. But it was a tug-of-war in the pits. On one side, you have escalating tensions between Iran and the US, which were supposedly preparing to resume negotiations but instead saw rhetoric tighten. Investors are on high alert for any disruption to Middle Eastern supplies. On the other side, we saw a massive weekly build in US crude inventories, which would normally send prices tumbling. However, the fear of conflict won out yesterday, with Middle East tensions effectively offsetting the oversupply signals from the States. Brent crude is currently hovering near the $70 mark, a psychological level that traders are watching very closely. On the home front, the US Treasury reported some surprisingly positive numbers. The US January budget deficit fell to $95 billion. Now, that sounds like a lot, and it is, but it's actually down 26% from a year earlier. The reason? Revenue gains are finally outpacing the growth in spending. Customs duties and higher tax receipts are helping the bottom line, even as record interest payments on the national debt continue to loom. It's a bit of rare sunshine in an otherwise cloudy fiscal picture, suggesting that at least in the short term, the revenue engine is humming. Finally, in our stock analysis highlight, let's focus on a blue-chip defensive giant, Johnson & Johnson. While high-growth tech stocks often grab the headlines, J&J is currently being highlighted for its defensive strength and disciplined growth. In a market that has seen significant divergence, with the Dow hitting records while other indices struggle, investors are looking for value. J&J's diversified portfolio across medtech and pharmaceuticals continues to provide a fortress-like profile for long-term investors. It's a reminder that sometimes the best way to grow wealth is simply not to lose it during the volatile swings. Shifting our focus to the global stage, it's a big day for international competition. The 2026 Winter Olympics are officially in full swing in Italy. Beyond the athletic feats on the ice and snow, there's a historical milestone being reached this year. A record 47 publicly out LGBTQ athletes are competing in Milan. It's a testament to the changing culture of international sport and a major highlight of the Games so far. But while the world is focused on the slopes of Italy, some are looking a lot further up. NASA's Artemis II mission is now on the horizon for March 2026. This will be the first crewed mission to the Moon in over 50 years. Four astronauts are currently in the final phases of training for a mission that will pave the way for a permanent human presence on the lunar surface. It's a stirring reminder of human capability and a piece of news that transcends the daily noise of politics and markets. And now, as we draw closer to the end of our digest, let's take a breath and turn toward something a bit more internal. Today's life wisdom comes from one of the giants of classic literature, Fyodor Dostoevsky, specifically from his masterpiece, The Brothers Karamazov. Dostoevsky often explored the theme of the suffering that teaches. We live in a culture that is obsessed with comfort. We avoid discomfort at all costs, we optimize our lives to eliminate friction. But Dostoevsky argued that there is a specific kind of suffering that comfort can never provide, a transformative power that difficult experiences hold. He didn't mean that we should seek out pain, but rather that when we inevitably face it, whether it's a market crash, a personal loss, or a professional setback, we have a choice. We can let the pain be a dead end, or we can look for the lesson. Dostoevsky suggests that it is often through our deepest struggles that we find our greatest humanity. Pain is inevitable, but if we pay attention, it can be the very thing that teaches us what truly matters, refining our character into something far stronger than comfort ever could. The next time you're facing a down day or a difficult challenge, remember that you might just be in the middle of a masterclass in living. That's all for today's Morning Digest. If you found value in today's episode, please share it with a friend or colleague. We'll be back here tomorrow morning to do it all over again. I'm your host, signing off. Stay focused, stay curious, and have a productive Thursday.